Hello everyone and welcome back to the studio with Jintan, Suetonia and myself, Apophany. We just saw a flagship Balgorn go down for a Dreamfleet flown by Loriam Lee, I think the name is, if I'm correct. Mega Navy issue actually brought that. That was a very interesting ship. We don't see those very often, or at least we don't see them very often and they actually work. It's a better way to say that perhaps. What were you guys' thoughts of that match? Tell us, Jin, a little bit about what went on there.
Well, effectively we just saw a Galante's Rush style team get absolutely demolished by what was effectively another Rush team, but one that had slightly more range control, so they could keep the other team at arm's length and then kill them as they try to get into it. Obviously that, if you need to get in close and you need to get in closer than the opponent's team and they're in full web grapple range, you can just hold them there and hammer them into the ground, and that's what we really saw there. And obviously that was also followed by the death of a flagship. And for those of you who aren't familiar with how flagships work, if they die, you can no longer ever bring that flagship to the tournament for the remaining games that you play.
You just have to bring a regular, standard rules to fitting apply ship of that hull type, and you can't put it through a tide ban. You restrict it in the same way that every other ship is in the game. It's very, very difficult. So Tony, we've seen a lot of Mecharials today in quite a few different setups. Would you go over for us what the Mecharial is, how it works, what its bonuses are, what its good parts are, what its weaknesses are?
So the Mecharial is a pirate faction battleship, belongs to the Angel Cartel. It gets a bonus to damage and fall off. It has a warp speed bonus as well, but it's not really too useful in the tournament. So the Mecharial actually has the agility and speed of closer to a cruiser instead of a battleship. So the Mecharial is really fast because it has that fall off bonus. It can kite really well. It applies damage really well as well. If you can kite quite far out, you get pretty decent tracking, especially autocannons against cruiser-sized targets. And since it's fast, it can kite very well. It's very hard to catch it, even with, especially with these tanky armor cruisers. It's really hard to just get on top of them. And they have kind of selectable damage type because it's projectiles. Yeah.
So big shout out to EVBet. I think they've managed to roughly repair the servers, like they're all on fire, they're running out fixing them. EVBet does in fact have tomorrow's matches available up on stream, so start going betting on those, see the teams you've watched today, go bet on them. Let's, however, start talking about the next match got coming up for us. We are going to be watching our penultimate match before the 20-minute break today. It's going to be Castabouts versus Mercenary Coalition. Now, Castabouts, really interesting alliance to me. They spend their time in the Center for Advanced Studies NPC Corp, and Castabouts is, I suppose, technically an alt alliance because they spend their time in there showing new players to the game what NPC Null is like. I believe they're up in Syndicate if they're still there, if I remember correctly. And then you have Mercenary Coalition, reborn under the leadership of Sabre, a very old History alliance that died and has come back since BDCI, for example, left PL to join MC, and MC have been doing crazy good work, especially in the invasion of the North as well in World War B. What do you guys think about these two teams facing up against each other? Let's start with Suetonia.
So I think the Mercenary Coalition team is probably a lot newer to the tournament, although I think they have a few more resources to put into it. Yeah. But the Center of Advanced Studies are a team that have knocked out a few decent teams before. And they do have a long tournament history. I think they've been part of the past 4 or 5 tournaments. So.
Yeah. They've definitely been putting a lot of practice. They've got a lot of experience now. Mercenary Coalition, I believe, initially started by Sabre taking a group of young Unistas, guys from Eve University, and they kind of built a base and built and built and built, and now they're doing big mercenary contracts, taking part in some of the biggest fights in New Eden in very expensive ships. Really, really impressive as to how quickly they've become such a prevalent figure in the Eve Online Tranquility game. Jintan, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you expect the setups these guys to bring? Do you think that either team have a particular
I think we've always seen the Castabouts use very sort of something non-standard. They're very much in love with their E-War, their strong E-War comps, or their strong DPS comps. For them, there's no middle ground. There's no fleet typhoons and control tomfoolery. It's either we're completely controlling you, or we're just killing you through any control you have. Whereas I think we're going to see MC tend towards more TQ style small gang ops, as a lot of people on their team are very, very good at that sort of thing, especially on Tranquility. One of the things that they did during World War B was do small gang on Intosis nodes, as that gave them a way to just collect a ton of frags, and that's what they want to do in the game.
And I just hope that the match doesn't last as long as Celine's Alliance panel presentation this year. It dragged on a little bit, but I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Let's get some predictions in. Jin, who do you predict is going to win CAS versus NC?
I think as long as Castabouts don't rustle up the ISK to pay Mercenary Coalition off, I think they're going to take it. I think Mercenary Coalition will win.
Okay, so Tony?
I'm going to go with Castabouts. I think they have more tournament experience, and they love Navy Ravens. So
They do. I'm torn. I find it very difficult to choose. I think I'm going to go with CAS because of the experience, but from looking at the open practices that BayRJ put up on YouTube, you guys should totally check out the EVNT YouTube channel and press the subscribe button as well as following the stream. They looked like they were being some really strong setups. They were flown pretty darn well. They looked like a really solid, I would call them at least a mid-tier team already if I just was based on those practices.
Yeah, I want to say that the real winner of this match is probably going to be the viewers, as I think both teams are going to bring something interesting today. Oh,
the cheese, good lord. But it's great, it's true, it's very true. We, the viewers, are the winners, as long as we don't keep getting hit by lightning still. So, if it's okay with you guys, we are going to head over to the commentary booth soon. We still have, let's see who it is, we still have Squeebles and Reload in the commentary. I'm sure they're doing an absolutely fantastic job. It's a tragedy that we in the studio cannot hear them during the day, but I'm sure they're giving you guys a great time. So let's head over to the casting booth with Reload and Sir Squeebles.